All right, so the reports of the officers, I'm on here first. So I will start with some of the purpose of the board with my report. So 4 years ago, when I first got elected, my plan was to first have community meetings across the district in order to find what all the problems of the district is. And that was through community meetings. The second phase was to find out what people want for the solutions. And we did a round of focus groups throughout the district. And then the last phase, the third phase, is to put together this council where the citizens can implement those solutions. And the way this will work is that we have some research that was already done and put together, and we have the co-chairs that will go over that and decide what projects are going to be prioritized with feedback from the board, the council. And then the council is going to be broken up into work groups, and they'll each be assigned a project or two, or however many you all think you can handle. And each project will be a problem that needs a solution. And I have like worksheets and everything that help you through everything. And at the end of it, we'll have a proposal that you bring to the council. You know, the council members can then provide feedback if any more research needs to be done or any tweaks to it, and then come back, the board approves it. And that proposal, then I could take to the Board of County Commissioners to either get it passed there and get funding or whatever, depending on what it is, what it needs to move forward. If it's something that the board can't do, it doesn't mean it can't happen. So we could work with nonprofits, try to find some grants, funding, and try to make it happen another way. So there's all kinds of options, and I'm the type of person who doesn't take no for an answer. So I always try to find a way to make something happen. All right, and so that's what I have to say for now, and I'm going to turn it over to Kelly.
Hi everyone. So I'm Kelly Sumrad, and I apologize for my appearance right now. I don't usually look like this, and with my kids during the day and working to the wee hours of the night right now for a couple weeks, so I look a little rough. But so I guess I'll take an opportunity just to introduce myself briefly. I'm by day, I'm a professor at UCF. And one of my focal areas of study is really to look at quality of life of residents, in particular areas that usually have economic constraints. And then by night, I am an environmentalist and a huge advocate for sustainable growth, preservation of natural land, protection of rural communities. It's a passion of mine, and that passion linked me with an organization, local organization that's called Save Orange County, that functions primarily out of East Orange County. However, we have become involved in community efforts to express their vision all across the community, all across Orange County, pertaining to the development that's occurring within their communities, and how they would like to see that development occur, and what their hope would be then for their community. So that is what I do mostly in my free time. I am co-chairing the committee here, or the council, with Eugene Staccato. In terms of my report for this evening, I guess the only thing that I would have to really update is an actual agenda item that is coming a little bit down later in the agenda, which pertains to a survey that you guys will all receive. I'm going to build a survey that will have a link that you will click on, and that link will take you to a platform that's called Qualtrics, and it will just simply ask you some basic questions about yourself pertaining to your experience with technology, your your interests, things of that nature. So it'll be a very basic survey, only about 5 questions, just so that we learn a little bit more about each one of you. So that's all that I have for my committee report. Thank you.
Okay, great. Do you want to continue the meeting, Kelly? Are you ready?
Eugene is on the phone, I believe.
Oh, he is.
Yes, I texted him the phone number, so.
Okay, so I think, let's see. Yeah, if someone calls in, I can't make them a panelist. I could unmute him though. Let me see if this is him. It's letting me.
So it looks like
Okay, there we go. Eugene, can you hear us?
Hello. Yes.
Yeah.
This you?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear
me?
you.
Yeah. 10-4.
All right, well, it's great you could join us.
Sorry about the low-tech solution here. I'm having some technical issues.
Hey, it's all about being able to work it out, right?
Sure.
Okay,
Not sure
so
why
we
my
are,
computer's-
I don't know if you've been watching, but or listening. 'Cause
No,
you're
I
on the
can't.
phone.
I can't see anything. I see just the event information, and it won't allow me to go past that. It doesn't like my password for some unknown reason.
Okay, well, we definitely will figure
So
this out. Not right now though,
Yeah, we
but
can do
in
this later.
another time.
Sure.
Do you have any report that you would like to share with, I know we haven't done much as our first meeting, but is there anything that you would like to share with the group?
Well, I don't have anything to really report at this point. Are we doing? I heard Kelly do an introduction. Do they know me? I'm not sure who's on the line. So.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay, I'm Eugene Staccato. I've been a resident for 40 plus years in Orange County. I've been an activist for 30 some of them. Very active in the east side, starting back in the late 80s with the econ issues. I've continually battling to protect the whole eastern area for a long time. I had the privilege with Emily to put me on the CRC, and hopefully I did a decent job, and we were successful on 3 of the charter amendments, all 3 that we placed. And I continue to work to try to protect the east side and Orange County's quality of life against the impacts of all the development. So, that's about it. I don't have anything to report beyond that right now.
Great, thank you, Eugene. Well, he definitely did a great job in the CRC. I think most of the amendments that were placed on the ballot was initiated by Eugene, so that was pretty successful. All right, so I'm going to turn it back to Kelly. Kelly, if you want to continue through the agenda, the next item is the member introductions.
Sure. So if each member could quickly could provide a brief introduction of themselves so we can get to know everybody. Let's see, starting with, how about Cheryl Hamill, just simply because her picture is next to mine in the WebEx.
Oh, it is. I don't have you next to me. That's okay. Well, I've lived here since in Orlando area since 1979, and I was a professor of psychology when I first got here. Most of my teaching was at the East Campus of Valencia Community College. I absolutely loved Valencia back then. And I also taught a little bit at UCF. But my major job here was with the Department of Defense, and I worked over in Central Florida Research Park. And all through the years, I've had an interest in environmental issues. I have somewhat of an interest in health-related things. I worked for Shepherd's Hope which is a free health clinic. And I think I worked for them about 20 years, volunteering my time over there. So I met a lot of people in Orange County, the Maitland area, down by Paramore. They had several clinics and I worked at all of them. And I learned a lot about people who are, you might say, living on the edge where they have jobs, but they just aren't really making enough money to make ends meet. So I'm somewhat of an activist. I just had a letter to the editor published on Sunday in the Orlando Sentinel. And and also I want to say that I am involved in my neighborhood HOA. We have an auxiliary group, the Women's Club. We do a lot for the neighborhood. And I'm also a member of the Sierra Club and Nature Conservancy, Audubon Society. So I guess I'm a clubby kind of person. I don't know. Is there anything else you'd like to know? Is that good enough?
That was great. Thank you.
Okay.
Maybe we can go to Karen next.
I've lived here most of my life and I'm like second or third generation, maybe fourth. Right now, currently, I'm a stay-at-home parent who previously worked in nonprofits and just continue as a community volunteer. And I think I've already gone over some of the most current things I'm into. But also I'm involved with the League, which Eugene is also involved with the League of Women Voters too, and I think Theo is too.
Thank you. Theo Webster.
I've been in Orlando since 1989. I worked briefly at the university with their community arts program that they had an endowed chair. I then went to work for the city of Orlando. I was at what used to be the Expo Center. And then I was at the Bob Carr for a number of years. I retired from the Bob Carr Performing Arts Center in 2014, and I've been doing a lot of volunteer work with the League. I currently chair the Transportation Committee with the League of Women Voters. And as I said before, I sit on the MetroPlan Orlando Community Advisory Committee. And there's probably lots more. I'm on the Arts and Cultural Affairs Advisory Council and a couple of their subcommittees, the advocacy and the sustainability. So I have a lot of interest and a lot of volunteer work that I do since I retired.
Awesome. Debbie.
In 1984.
Oh, can
And-
you start? Sorry,
Oh.
I just unmuted you. We didn't hear you in the beginning.
All right, so am I mute?
You're unmuted. We can hear you now. Oops. Do you?
Oh, she's gone.
There you go. We can hear you now.
Gotcha, okay. So I came up here in 1984 to go to UCF, and it was a much smaller school then, 16,000 students. And I have pretty much stayed in the Central Florida area since graduation. I've been like, Brevard County, Osceola County, Seminole County, back here again in Orange County. And I have 2 children, which I raised here and was involved with whatever activities or programs they were involved in, as well as being a business owner. And I was in sales and marketing for most of my pre-volunteering life. And right now I live on Lake Winata in the northern Goldenrod area. And I was actually a member of the roundtable group, Emily, you mentioned, that prompted this whole thing. So I'm really excited that you got to this point. And I just want to become involved and help this community continue to be the best it can be.
Awesome. That's great. let me see, Janet.
Hi. I'm relatively new here compared to all of you. I moved to Central Florida about 7 years ago when I retired, and immediately saw a need to go about trying to protect Winter Park, which is where I moved to. So I got involved with local politics and I'm now writing a blog on various issues, mostly Winter Park related, but it's all about, stemming the tide of development, which has become my passion, getting more parks around and that kind of thing. So that's it.
Great. Let me see. We have Louis.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
My name is Luis Olguin. I've been here since maybe high school in Florida, mostly in East Orlando. I studied at UF civil engineering. I specialize in water resources, drainage, environmental, just water in general. After college, I served as a Peace Corps volunteer in Ecuador, Amazon rainforest, where I live with indigenous tribes. Yeah, and I just want to be more involved in my community, especially areas of sustainability, environmental. Yeah, so that's me. Hi, everybody.
Hi. Paul Conway.
Paul Conway. I'm a resident of Orange County District 5, Winter Park for the last 27 years. I'm retired. I was assistant architect, software engineer. I'm a member of the league, I'm an active member of the Transportation Committee, and I'm on the Citizen Advisory Board for the Winter Park Utilities.
Great. I think that takes us now to Anna Pepper.
Hello, I'm Anna Pepper. I've lived in Winter Park since '94. Like Louis, I am a civil engineer. I also do water resources like him, but for a different company. My interest, this will be the first time I've served on a public board. I serve on a bunch of private ones. Like many of you, I have a passion for protecting natural Florida, which actually is atypical for a civil engineer. So I hope to provide what I can, and I'd like to be the quiet support behind initiatives to do just that. And I know Eugene from some of his work with the charter amendments.
Great. So we are definitely environmentalists deep in terms of this community, which is fantastic. I know that there are other initiatives that span across District 5 that are outside of the scope of the environment. So we will have some, we definitely have topics from what I have reviewed with Commissioner Bonilla pertaining to the environment, but then there are some other community challenges that that we'll also be working on. So it will be, I think it'll be a really great opportunity for all of us to learn more about District 5 and in the different pockets and communities where we all live. So next on the agenda here is, we're moving to new business. And the first item there was to review.
Kelly, you still there?
Hello, Kelly. Kelly, are you there?
I think we lost her.
Her internet must have.
Yeah,
Is
she
she
crashed.
using WebEx?
No, it's not WebEx.
It's gone.
Probably one of the things about living out in the east side.
Can-
Internet's horrible.
Can you see her on the picture? I can't, obviously I can't see anything.
She's gone.
let me, see
Oh,
if I
boy.
can text her real quick. She knows that she's,
You can probably leave and come back in again.
yeah.
If that works, if you have internet problems.
Yeah.
She might be able to log back in.
Okay, just sent her a message. All right, well, I'll just move on to the next item, is review the purpose of the council. And she's asking if it's like that for everyone. To her, it's like we're all gone. She's the only one who's gone. Okay, she's gonna try to get in again. All right, so I did go over the purpose of the council. Does anyone have any questions on the purpose of the council? Do I need to explain it deeper or further? Or you're all good?
We're good.
Okay,
I think I'm good.
all right, great. All right,
Have you sent out what was presented or what we're looking at from the focus groups?
Yeah.
yes, that will come up in a later meeting. This is like our orientation introduction
Okay.
here at this meeting.
And I know I got something called ClickUp. I'm not familiar with ClickUp, so maybe you can enlighten me.
Yes, so we're gonna go through all of that now. So this is sort of like your training, I guess, too. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen.
Okay,
Hi,
she's back.
Kelly. I'm at the bylaws at the moment.
Okay, I apologize. I don't know what happened. All of a sudden, I couldn't hear or see anybody. So I'm sorry.
Okay, it happens. Is your internet as bad as mine out on the east side?
Yes, it is. The wind blows and it goes down, so.
That is on the project list too.
Yeah.
Getting broadband out to the east side, to the rural areas. There's also some areas inside the metro area too that doesn't have fiber, which it was surprising when I became a commissioner and learned that.
We're one of those areas in North Goldenrod.
Oh yeah?
Yeah,
Yeah,
on Lakewood Mountain. We have 2 cable companies, but no fiber.
We're slowly getting fiber downtown, so, but we're not there yet.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. Just want to make sure I'm sharing the right one. Okay, so what you should be seeing is this bylaws.
Mhm.
You're all seeing that? Okay, and you're still hearing me, which is good. Sometimes
Yes.
the audio goes off or it mutes once you share your screen. Okay, so there is a video that I shared with everybody in the email that goes over the bylaws, because I went over this with Kelly and Eugene. It took like an hour to go through it. So just I watched the video. I'm gonna just quickly go through it, but I'm not gonna take as much detail. So the bylaws, we have the purpose, we have the responsibilities. From the feedback from Kelly and Eugene during that meeting I had with them, I added as many links as possible to give you more information. There's the relationship of the council members to Commissioner Bonilla. There's the list of what the members are, their terms, composition, attendance. Each member shall attend at least 10 meetings in a year. The organizational structure. And I did explain that too. So we're gonna have 2 co-chairs and then we're gonna have separate work groups that will be separated into these areas of interest and geographic locations. And each work group would have a work group leader and a recording secretary, so that when you go off and you have your own work group meetings between our monthly council meetings, then someone needs to just collect minutes from those meetings. And in those meetings, you'd be able to schedule whenever your group is available or however it works for you to work together. think of it kind of like a college class or university class when you have project, team projects or team assignments. Something like that.
Yeah.
There's going to be some support staff. So I have my aide. I'm getting some interns to help. I'm trying to get an intern for each work group so that you have someone to help assist you with stuff. I'm looking for a grant writer who could volunteer their time and an attorney who could also volunteer their time to assist as well. And then we have duties described. Why is this? Refresh this. Okay, so the duties are listed for each type of position. And as you can see, there's lots of links here for you. And procedural rules. So we have the bylaws. We have council orientation training, which this is like your orientation training here, and it's being recorded so you could go back to it if needed, since I'm going fast right now. And then any new members too could then see this recording as well and get oriented. The council meetings would meet once a month. And we're looking to do a second meeting this month so that we could get started on getting work done, because this one's like really an orientation meeting. And then Kelly and Eugene will work together with that survey to figure out what the work groups are going to look like. We're going to publicly notice the meetings so that the public knows that's going on. They could attend, and it's open to the public. As you saw, we had the public comment in the beginning, because we want public involvement. The locations are going to be in WebEx. Who knows, maybe in the future we'll be meeting in person. Although this is very convenient, I'll say, because we don't have to be here, or we could probably do like a combination too. Because I have my office, which is going to be set up also with a WebEx, so anyone who's in person could be here, and we have a conference room, so you could do both at the same time as well. There's a sample of what the agenda should be. We have the agenda, work group meetings, minutes, recommendations and reports. So the work group, when they go off and do their projects, work on their projects, the work group leader will report back to the council once a month on what their progress is. So they'll provide reports. They'll be, in those reports, I have templates for everything too. Let me tell you, I spent a lot of time working on this, putting everything together so that the job is as easy as possible for you. So you don't have to spend time setting up things. Everything's already set up for you. So there's a template for the report. There's a template for the evidence-based policymaking worksheet, which is amazing, by the way. I got that from UCLA, from an orientation, the conference that I did there, and I built upon it. They actually wanted to interview me for like how I've been using it and stuff. But it's amazing. And then I do have a template for the project proposal as well, for it to make other information look very pretty when we present it to, when I present it to the board. And so when the work group goes and works on the project, they'll bring that back to the council for review, for feedback. And I think I've already kind of explained that. So pass over this. Public announcements. I just want to make sure that you're all very careful that you could go out and please share the information about this council to everybody. That's another purpose of this group, is to get community involvement, and I need your help to do that. But just be careful that you don't represent the council in the way that they didn't agree on. So you don't want to speak to the council unless they all agreed on a certain topic. Does that make sense? I hope I'm explaining it. Okay. Standing committees and special committees. So we're going to look at putting together a community engagement committee that can help with that outreach, and a diversity and inclusion committee. And as needed, we could create other subcommittees as well. We're going to use Robert Rules of Order. Formal votes will be made, will be taken for decisions. So each year there'll be an evaluation on the board to see how we did, what we can improve upon, There's also an evaluation of your work group when you're done a project, so you can see what worked, what didn't. And it's always about, we always have to evaluate what you did so that you can always improve and get better. And then ethics and conflicts of interest. Council members are encouraged to cultivate public awareness. Let's see. Council members should not charge fees or otherwise accept compensation for conveying comments or other information to the council. Council members shall not, while a member enter into paid employment by a member of the Board of County Commissioners or another member of a board, Commissioner Emily Bonilla sits on in order to prevent violations of sunshine laws. So this is what we mentioned in the beginning. We kind of went through what boards everyone's sitting on. Questions about ethical obligations and complaints could be made to the co-chairs, and then they'll handle the report. The executive council or the executive committee is going to be made up of me, the co-chairs, and the work group leaders. We will meet separately once a month to go over projects and assigning projects and stuff like that. That is the bylaws, and I went through that pretty quickly compared to the 1 hour I took with Kelly and Eugene. Like I said, if you want to go deep into it, you can watch the video.
Well, Emily, I really liked your graphic. That made it a lot easy for me to understand after you read it, or after I read it and I saw the graphic on the email you sent. It was so easy. I like when you do visuals.
Yeah, when I was going through it with Kelly and Eugene, I was like, you know what would be helpful? Some graphics. That's the idea, and I put those together. Also, at the end of the bylaws, there are some resources. There's a whole link, a whole list of links to the templates, to a link to the folder with the research, and to some of the ClickUp areas that I'll be showing you soon, and the web page, and your Google Drive folders. Yeah, here you can see the charts, graphs here. And this right here is the process of the project, and it going through the process. I love visuals too. It's really helpful. Okay, so Kelly, does anyone have any questions? Okay. So I'm going to go through the work plan, which is the next item on the agenda. Kelly, is it okay if I just work through some of these things on the agenda?
Yeah, that would be great, because I'm gonna relearn with you. Does everybody here have access to the shared drive where they can all see it too?
Sure.
Okay, and I'll go through that and show them on here as well, so they can see it.
That's great. Okay.
So the work plan, this is the work plan here, and this is a template right now, which Kelly and Eugene will work through, and it will state the vision, the mission statement, the strategy, the goals, objectives, quarterly key results, responsibilities. I already got this started for them, so they just have to update it to fit any feedback that they could get from the council. So that's, let's go over that. The ClickUp, so you all should have received a email to get into ClickUp. This is what it looks like when you get in. This is your home. And in your home, you'll see your tasks over here. Can you see my mouse moving?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, great. So this is where your tasks will be listed. What's due today, overdue next, non-scheduled. You see a calendar over here to the right, and any trending, Debbie, you're trending right now. Any trending tasks up here on the top. So this home is on your left side here, and there's this button here, which can close it. You click this again to open it. It's good for me to show you that. That way you're like, where did this go? I can't find where I am. So I had to show you that. Notifications is next. Notifications are great because you can see what's going on and what you're watching. And then I would always suggest once you look through them to clear them. And there'll be a button here on the top right for you to clear it. Also on the top right, you see all assigned to me and mentions. Mentions, you click on that and you can see what messages anyone left you. So if you want to send someone a message in a comment on the task, which I'll show you in a little bit, you could do the @ sign and then someone's name, and then they'll get an email or notification of that message so that they don't miss it. And then you have your favorites, which can, if you favorite something, I'll show here. Shared with me right here. These are the 2 areas that I've shared with you from our office ClickUp, because our office ClickUp has a whole bunch of spaces and stuff, which you don't need to see. So this is the D5 NAC is what we're calling the council as a little short. And this is the D5 NAC project. So you click on this here to open that. And here's the list, which is template right now. And so this would be, for one project, this would be the task. I've already put in like all the tasks for you. You just have to add who's assigned to it and update the due dates. So again, I try to make everything easy for everyone. Everything's, you know, the milestones are marked and everything. If I click on this task, so you'll see here a description, so you could add a description to it. Here's a checklist here of different tasks that are within the task. So different things to look at. And then over here on the right, down here is the comment area where I was telling you, write the @ sign and you make the message for someone, you press comment. And you'll see all the comments and any activity in the task will go up here. You can add more subtasks, you could add more checklist items, and you could add attachments here. But you can keep it as simple as possible too, which is just, you know, use it like a checklist. Here's your status. So I kept it very simple: to do, in progress, or complete. And so when we have a new project, this could just be duplicated, and, you know, either I, the work group leader, or Kelly, Eugene will be the ones doing this, so the others don't have to worry about it. You just have to keep an eye on your home and your whatever is assigned to you by your work group leader. Over here, we have the member contact information. So you have the information for everybody in the council so that if you need to reach out to someone, you can find their information. So I want you all getting to know each other really well and working together because you're a team. And this arrow here will close and open. And I'm going to go down to dashboards here. Oh, actually, let me show you something else here. Back to projects. So here's your list. There's actually another view. Let me see. All right, so if you click on the folder, it gives you a couple of different views. So if you go to the right side, it's project activity timeline. And it will give you like a little visual of the tasks and when they're due here. The list view will list all the tasks. You go to contact information, you can see the table. You can also see a map, which is pretty cool. So get a good idea of where all the council members are so that I know I could recruit. I need to recruit certain people in other areas. We need to kind of fill, because we want to make sure we get different communities. Okay, dashboards. So there's shared dashboards. Click here. And this is project roadmap. This is really great, especially for the co-chairs to see how the projects are doing. You see here the progress. So 0 out of 29 tasks have been completed. 7 are overdue, but you know, this is a template sample thing. So it started in March. The start date, end date, and who's the owner of the project, which would be like the work group leader. And all the projects will be listed here. So that is ClickUp in a nutshell. Also, I'll show you one more thing right down here. Click that. You click help. And they have all these videos, documents, and stuff to help you out if you ever have any questions on how to use this or anything. Let me tell you, I use this for my constituent services and basically tracking everything in the office, and it's just an amazing program. Already my aide has shared it with her friends and told them they should use it too in their businesses and things that they're doing. So everyone just loves it. Even though another commissioner started using it for their constituent services, it's just an amazing platform.
Is ClickUp a Orange County proprietary platform?
No, anyone could go and purchase a subscription.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really great. I mean, they have a free version too if anyone wanted to try it out.
Okay.
I'm not getting paid for promoting them either.
No, that's just
I got no commission. So over here in Google Drive, on the left side, you would see a shared drives. And this is where you'd find the 2 shared drives that were shared with you. This top one here is the templates, the 5 NAC documents. So if you go in here, this folder here is the templates. And when you go into them, you can't do anything to it. You just copy it to another folder, and then you can start editing it. And we go back, and over here, community meeting and focus group research. So, motion detected, Mike. To save energy in the county building. So this is the research that was collected from the community meetings and the focus groups.
Emily,
Also,
this is Debbie Balashek talking. You had inquired as to my access with Google Drive with the email I provided. I went and looked through all of those, so I do have access to it.
okay, great, awesome. Yeah, so if anyone can't get access to this, please let me know so that I can work it out with you. This here is the map here that we kind of broke up the district into different communities. And so one thing I definitely want you all to go through is decide on these boundaries, if these work, if they don't. And that way we can have communities that are represented and has like a group of people, like a work group from our council that represents that community. Okay, so back to the shared drives. The other shared drive, the 5 NAC shared drive. This one is where you'll be mostly working in. Here's the bylaws for you here. This folder here is the council meetings, and so it'll be separated by folders for each meeting. So you could go in here and get the agenda, the meeting minutes, whatever you need. Over here is the executive meetings, and so these are the meetings of the co-chairs and the work group leaders. And whatever we need for the meetings for that will be in here. And then there'll be a folder for each work group. And in there, you'll have a folder for your meetings that you do and a folder for your projects. And your group can decide how you organize everything in here. So that's the Google Drive. Any questions so far?
Who do you consider so far on the council that is very technologically savvy, that if I had a question, I could call them? Have you thought about designating a person, or should we just help each other?
I have Lemeria, my aide. If someone else feels great and comfortable with it, you can offer yourself up as well.
Okay.
And the other thing we can do with the survey that we'll create and send out, the quick, I'm going to call it quick five question survey, is we can find out which people are more technologically savvy, and then maybe list those as potential people that could be contacted, you know, to help others figure it out.
Okay.
So it'll have like a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being the least technologically savvy to 5 being I'm an expert. And then we'll find out where all of our skills are, hopefully.
And then Doodle, I wanted to show this. So Doodle is what we'll be using to get everyone's availability for meetings. So it's very important to please, when you get the email, well, first of all, make sure this is in your whitelist or that doesn't go to your spam, these emails from Doodle. And then please make sure to go in and check off your 3 days that or times that you're available. Because it shows like so this is like Wednesday here and it has 2 different time slots. And we'll definitely try to make sure that we do these meetings because I think it's better for everyone in the evening, like 6 to 7. Oh, and that was another thing I forgot to mention with the bylaws too. So the general meeting is going to be from 6 to 7, and it's going to be on this WebEx events platform. And then we're going to end this platform and go into another meeting in a different platform. And sorry for the different platform, but WebEx just doesn't work that way. I can't do breakout sessions on this event. So there's like WebEx has 2 like WebEx events and WebEx meetings. So we have to go into WebEx meetings in order to do the breakout sessions for the work groups. So you'll get 2 links in the invite for that day. So from 6 to 7 will be in events, and 7 to 8 will be in the breakout sessions. Okay. And then what else I have to look at? Oh, so that was all I had for all the technology type of stuff. Any questions?
Actually, Emily, I did have a question from watching the video you sent earlier. Somebody had inquired about what the fiscal year was, and I was a little confused what our goal, or I guess our time frame for when you're looking to have a specific end result from a project, or what kind of months, weeks we're supposed to be working in.
Yeah, so I definitely the sample project here is a 5-month timeline from beginning to end. And the time involvement, because I think it's important to let you know, is like 4 hours for each person throughout that 5 months. So you're gonna have assigned a different section. Each section is like maybe 4 hours of work.
Okay.
So during that 5 months, you'll be doing maybe like 4 hours of work for, just to get an idea. So you could probably handle more than one project, you know, in that time frame, because it does, you know, we do want to get more done. So if we're working on one project for 5 months, while some of the members are just work group members are just waiting for the other people and you already did yours kind of thing, you know, so we could probably rotate a little bit more in there.
And is there a priority of the projects once you release them to us that you have a preference for the order they get worked in? Because they might be quicker to be knocked out before a certain meeting or some topic comes up for your, that you have to vote on?
Yeah, and definitely I'll be working with that priority list with the co-chairs and the work group leaders.
Okay, so we'll find out through that. Okay.
Yeah. And the fiscal year is from October to September. And so I really would like the projects done by the end of the fiscal year, because I really start working on that next year's budget right when the other one ends.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
So I've been able to get a lot of stuff on the budget for District 5, just really understanding the budget cycle and working it. We definitely have to recruit more people. So the council is going to be between 15 and 20 people. I would like to get it more closer to the 20. That way, if you know someone for some reason can't make it, or they decide that it's something they can't do anymore, then we're not left with less people. And also from the map that I showed you where everybody is, we do need to fill in some pockets of areas that we don't have some members from. Yeah, and that's all I have, Kelly. I'll send it back to you.
So Emily, I have a question for this overall process. So here's what this is my understanding of what's going to happen. So today was our orientation meeting, just to kind of look at the shared drive, look at the forms that we'll be using. We should all sign up for ClickUp in the email. which I didn't get a ClickUp email, so I'm not sure. I'll follow up with Lamaria because I didn't get an invite for that. So we see the platforms that we're going to be using, and then we're going to receive a Doodle poll for us to sign up for the second meeting for this month so that we can kind of break into these areas of interest, right? And what I was wondering if what we could see tonight was what those potential topics would be. Do you have a list of those? I know we looked at Yumi and Eugene, but maybe we could, can you explain those just real quick to the group? Because I know we're over time, but just how the groups that will be.
Yeah, so we have the different areas of interest, and these are based on committees that are at the federal government level, the state level, and with the National Association of Counties and Florida Association of Counties I've been working in. So these are buckets, I should say, of areas of interest that follow different types of policies. So you have the community, economic, and workforce development, which, well, it's workforce development, economic development, dealing with the CDBG funds, which is more like HUD. Well, it's like housing and human services kind of funding. It actually follows under a lot of things, so it's kind of hard for me to explain.
What?
A lot, yeah. So that is that. And then we have human services and education, which is education and human services, like services that you would provide to people, which, so joining it together, community and economic workforce development really works. And then justice and public safety and public health kind of goes together really well too. Because that's like your police, your safety, OSHA kind of policy, stuff like that, along with public health. And then the next group we have is environmental protection, energy, land use, which goes together as a group. And then you have transportation. So I put these together because I thought they would work really well together. I'm sure you all agree with me on that. And then the last one, finance and intergovernmental affairs, telecommunications and technology, and agricultural and rural affairs. So I know Kelly had a question why I put agriculture and rural affairs there instead of with land use and stuff. And the reason is because the committees policy committees that I've been on that covers agriculture and rural affairs hasn't really discussed issues with land use or environment. It's mostly like the lack of resources and services that they have in those areas, which like it's broadband, like which we kind of experienced earlier today and discussed. So getting broadband out to rural areas.
So then one more question, Emily, because so with all of the research that you've done, do you have like a problem statement for each of these areas of interest? For example, in the focus groups that you had done regarding environmental, because so many of us had an interest in environmental protection, so I'll just use that one as the example. Is there a problem statement that the group that would be working on environmental protection would focus on, or is that group going to do the research to unveil a problem statement and then generate potential solutions for that problem that they unveil? Or has the problem already been unveiled in the research you did?
There's been problems that's been unveiled. Let me go back to research. And I could bring up. So this document right here is the
strategic.
Oh, here it is. So this brings in, right here you see the goals that's on the work plan that was taken from here. The ones that are highlighted are the ones that we're working on now, the ones that are, or that we've either working on or finished working on. So the ones I've crossed off. So these are issues that's came out from the community. This one's a bit low here. This one's the Goldenrod area. We have Union Park.
So essentially, what we would do is we would like, let's look at homelessness. So this is in Union Park area, and we would, the group that would be maybe perhaps working on homelessness, they would take homelessness and then look at the key areas of interest and situate homeless into the appropriate area, like you know, in those key areas of interest. Is that what they would, is that what you would like for the council to do?
Well, I will say this is a learning process. This is the first of its kind that anyone's ever done this. So some of the things we are going to learn how to work through. So the way I envisioned it in my head was that those areas, let me go back to, these are three buckets of interest. These 3 buckets are 3 different work groups. So there'd be a work group to represent each bucket. And the projects would fall into a bucket and be assigned to that work group. But if it doesn't work out that way, so, you know, so we may just say, okay, well, instead of focusing on a work group, we're going to create a special work group just for this issue, and you will be assigned to it. But the idea is that we have 15 or more people, and so each work group would have 5 or more people in it to help work on a project.
Okay, so can you go back to the strategic plan and let's look and just pick out a potential project so that we can see what so like
homelessness, right?
Okay. Yep.
Homelessness would, let's say, would be a project, and it will fall under the community economic workforce development, blah, 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 work group.
Okay. And so then what that group would do is provide a problem statement where they'd, for example, say something along the lines of like, on any given day, Orange County does not know how many homeless people are on the streets, that and this is true of District 5. And so our problem is going to be coming up with a way to find out how many people we have so that we know the resources we need. Is that what you want? Do you want the groups to make that link like that? Or do you have specific problems that you want the groups to solve?
So yeah, homelessness is a really hard one. I'll just say that to solve. That's a big issue.
Yes.
I think like the hardest one to like really, but so we have, so this issue map here is from the focus groups. So this one's in affordable housing. They've done some really good work, research in this. This was from UCF's students who helped put this together and did the focus groups. But then they have also one on poverty. There's 5 different issue maps. So I'm not sure which one. The homelessness is like both. It's affordable housing and poverty, so it could fall under both of these. But go back to, this might be able to help you out better. I'm going to show you the evidence-based policy making worksheet. And so this is how you'd work through the project, which really brings you through step by step. So you define the problem. So what is the problem? And as you can see here,
so that's what I'm talking about. Like, where does each group start from? So the group would define the problem and then use the research that you guys have identified through the focus groups. And then, right, is that's what we would look at. That makes sense.
So it will actually start here with a project brief where the executive committee will work through defining the problem, so that when it gets to the work group, they at least have somewhere to start. So, you know, what's the background? Why are we looking at this? Defining the problem. which you work through this, and what's the project objectives, what are the milestones, duration, and what's success and what's not success, to target audience and additional resources.
Got
So this
it.
project brief would really set the pace and the tone for the work group and their research.
Okay, so got it. So then
they go through the evidence-based policymaking worksheet. They have the problem already. They go through the data research, decide what type of research they need to collect. Then they go through the stakeholder analysis, who's opposed, who's in support, who's neutral, who's important. And then it brings them to, are there any grants or funding out there for it? And then developing a strategic plan. What's the historical background on this? Who's done anything about it? Has it worked out for them? What has it been challenged in court? And then they put together the solutions and a strategy based on all that previous research. And
the way you've broken it out, those 3 groups, each one has tremendous issues involved in each one of them. And I think it would be beneficial to look at a person's base of knowledge or skill set in order for them to work on something. I don't have time to research a new project. It needs to be something that I'm knowledgeable about, that I have input into. So it might be better for the groups to have something to look at to define the issues that they're dealing with. But the environment, transportation, those are, they're all related, but those are kind of 2 separate topics that you've got that work group working on. So how do you perceive that might work?
So definitely I am here solving problems that I have no expertise in. As a commissioner, I am not an engineer. I am not an attorney. I am not a lot of things.
I'm not an engineer or an attorney, but I do have things that I've paid attention to and that I've made myself aware of. And it seems that that's where a lot of the people on this council are. They're knowledgeable about a specific topic, is kind of what I was referring to.
Yes, and I will say, so when I got this worksheet, during that class, they took us aside, gave us an hour, which is like maybe 3 of us, and we brainstormed and went through this worksheet in an hour with all the knowledge that we did have. And I think anyone who's gonna start this, to do that too, because then you just brainstorm whatever knowledge you have, dump it out on this worksheet, and then you just dig deep. There's research, you want to learn things, and so you dig deeper and you learn more about it and what's being done out there. But that's what I do every day as a commissioner. I've learned about so many things I never thought I'd learn about. I'm learning every single day, and I always have to do the research and become knowledgeable about what decisions I'm making and what policies and solutions I want to bring to the board.
So I have a question. You've done an excellent job of giving us structure and saving us time with the worksheets and the template, but I think I'm still not hearing where the actual problem, I hate to call it a problem, challenge is coming from. Is it coming from the executive committee, or is it coming from you? Is it coming from what's up on your agenda for the commission? So is that something that's just going to work its way through as we find our way through here? Because I understand what to do once you've given it to me. What I don't understand is if I'm supposed to work with others to find it, or if it will actually just be given to me.
Okay, yeah, it would. No, I can never find this document. So we definitely want to focus starting here the issues that people had. And we really don't want to tackle, especially in the beginning, big issues like the homelessness. I really feel that that's just, if it's a targeted area of homelessness, that we could, something that we could solve quickly, that's something we could do like in a certain area. But if it's like, solving homelessness in the country, like, that's a little bit too big for us, we can't solve homelessness in even 4 years. I don't think we can make it better, but we can't solve it. Actually, I do have an idea that I'd love to present on that, but that's for another time. So I really want to start focusing on some of the smaller things that are community based, where we could start making an impact and a difference. So there's some, like, I'd really have to dig into these with the co-chairs and the work group leaders and see what they want to choose out of this and tackle. But I'm all about listening to the citizens and being citizen driven. So I want your feedback on what do you want to tackle. I don't want to dictate it to you.
But it sounds like sounds like it's somewhat of a top-down process, because it will be the executive council that goes to the strategic plan, chooses topics more or less from the plan, and then the co-chairs come back to the work groups and say, these are the things we'd like you to work on.
Well, they could work with feedback from the whole council though. So this is okay. Your council.
Oh, it goes both ways. You're saying it's not top down, it goes bottom up too. Okay.
It's how you all work together as a team and as a group.
And I like to kind of echo, I'd like to kind of echo what Theo said, where we do all seem to have, we're in dire straits right now with the environment. I have children who have decided that they probably won't have children. I mean, this is just, we have an opportunity here in Orange County to really be a leader for other counties around us. So if that's what everyone kind of knows about, and a lot of these issues have to do with that too. We can make them environmental at every level. So I do like that we all have that background and that passion, and maybe we could just lean a little bit towards those issues. That's just my input for the executive committee and for you.
Thank you.
So Emily, I have a suggestion on, so all of these topics. So for example, we see transportation, and this is the goldenrod, but transportation appears in Bithlow area as well. So maybe what we could do is we could theme, right? So we'd look at transportation, and then we'd pull the overall problems that we see with transportation under the transportation, because that's a key area of study. And then the group can form a problem statement from that. And then we've got some growth management is in all these areas, is identified as a potential problem. Environment is within all the areas. So we can pull the common themes out of these areas. So maybe Christmas has something similar in environment as goldenrod area. And then we can create an overall problem for District 5 pertaining to environment, and then, one for county, like, do you see what I mean? Like, we're theming the problems throughout the different areas that have been identified on the map. Maybe that's something we could do, and then from there create an overall problem statement so that we can look at benefiting all of District 5 as opposed to individual niche areas.
Sounds great to me. I like it.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense. Yes.
Okay, so we can theme the qualitative data here. And
it's already sort of themed for you in here, some of that work, because you have the transportation, growth management, environment. So it might be easy.
Yeah, so transportation is the overall category, and then we'll look for themes within transportation, and we'll come up with something that impacts all of District 5 instead of one particular area. So I think that could work.
Okay.
Are the work group leaders determined? It's not clear right now to me who fills what role.
Yeah, so Kelly's going to send out that survey to see what everyone's interests are.
Okay, so it's not determined yet then.
No. So I'm hoping that by the next meeting, we could get that all settled and taken care of and get moving forward and stuff.
So Emily, how does some of the things that are on the strategic plan, how do the topics on the strategic plan that fall under the county, how do they get affected by the other smaller municipalities like the city of Winter Park, the city of Maitland? You know, I'm looking at the geographic work groups, and I like Baldwin Park's considered Orlando. I'm considered unincorporated Orange County. And I don't know like Wedgefield Christmas or Big Econ if that's unincorporated or not. And you know, Maitland's got their own, just like Winter Park has their own city governments. How do we tie in all that?
That's something that the council could decide. Like, I want you all to decide on those borders and what that is.
Okay.
I put together a start for you, and then you guys can massage it and finish it and finalize it.
Okay.
So some of the things you're asking me about, like, what do I want? And I'm throwing it back at you because you're the citizens and I want to be citizen driven. So I want you all to provide your feedback and decide on some of these things.
Do you meet with like the mayor of Winter Park or stuff?
Oh, the former mayor.
Sorry.
All right. I did. Former mayor, and then that stopped.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Some people probably know why. But there's a new mayor, so yes, I'll be meeting with them. Yeah.
Okay.
So I do meet with them.
I guess I didn't know if the county operates separately than the smaller cities. I guess that's what I was trying to figure. Or do you try to work together? I guess maybe that was a poor way of phrasing my question.
Debbie, I've watched Emily work with Maitland closely.
Okay.
So I think it's a partnership. It depends on your commissioner, but she's been very much a good partner with Maitland. As someone who's lived in unincorporated Orange County, I know a lot of these solutions we come up with will be very important because often you're forgotten when you're unincorporated Orange County. But it's always people driven, relationship driven. So this is good that it's coming from citizens, I think.
I agree. Okay. Thank you, Karen.
Are there any more questions?
Is the date for the next meeting already determined?
Lemira's gonna send out, if she hasn't already, Lemira, are you able to speak? I don't know if you sent that out yet. The next May meeting.
Yeah, so I've sent out the doodle. As of right now, we don't have an official date for the next meeting.
Yeah, so we need to, I don't know what the responses are on that. So once we get enough responses, like to pick a date, we'll pick a date that most people are available. So right now we have a doodle for May and June, right?
Yes.
I only got the doodle for the June, not for our second May one.
Okay, I'll have Lemuria send out that.
Okay.
Just make sure that, because sometimes the doodle goes into spam, so make sure that you're looking out for that.
Yeah, I've made a separate filter, so anything for D5, and I've copied whatever the subject line. So I started putting that in there so to keep them all filtered into one folder.
Okay, D5 now? Mm-hmm. Okay, so remember, that's key for us. We'll put D5 NAC in the subject line of everything we send. That way you all know what to look out for.
Actually, I put it both ways. I spelled it out as well as abbreviated it.
Okay,
Okay.
we'll do both. I
Okay.
think that would be good, so that's easier for y'all to find. Okay, so look out for that doodle. Is there any more questions? This was our first meeting. Like I said, I'm so excited, and I am so looking forward to the next one. Looking forward to having all the work groups and stuff like that settled by the next one so that we can then start picking projects. And hopefully by the June meeting, we have all the projects assigned and we could get moving. This fiscal year ends in September, so we could have a short time. So maybe we could pick some easy ones to work on to get done before the end of this fiscal year. That we could start. I could start submitting kind of projects for budget for the next budget year. And then we could get into the more bigger long-term projects because it seems like you guys are somewhat interested in some of the tackling those big issues, which is exciting. And like I said, I do have an idea for homelessness, but it's really progressive, I'll say, and we'll definitely need a lot of community support to get it moving forward. So I could see what you guys think about the idea and if it's something that you guys would like to use as a solution for homelessness.
Emily,
Discuss that in this meeting.
when did you say was the exact end of it's when you say end of September, is that September 30th hard deadline?
Yeah, the fiscal year.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to turn it back over to Kelly so she could adjourn if she's ready to.
Yeah, so that's so I think this was a good orientation. I know what it has done is probably made our wheels start turning to try to figure some things out. And I think we have to just dig into that shared drive and kind of look at templates and look at information to really get on board with what's expected. I will, over the course of this weekend, I'll design this survey to send out for people to fill out where it kind of, so we can see who's the technologically advanced people, what are the specific areas of interest. So that will be forthcoming this weekend. I'll run it by Eugene to make sure, and Emily to make sure it's got everything that everybody would like to have in it. And then, and I can take a look at the theming of the categories too, and then maybe during the next meeting present some preliminary areas or problems, and then the groups can discuss from there. Maybe that would help shape things up, because it seems like most of us don't yet understand where the problem's coming from. So maybe that will help give us something firm to hang on to. So that's
and
it.
I do need to get confirmation from everyone too, if they're getting into the ClickUp, if they are getting into Google Drive. So I will have Lemuria reach out to everybody to make sure that we get that confirmed, make sure everyone has access to everything. And also to make sure we have the contact information in here for everyone who's on the group, because I know Janet, we were missing you, so we added you in. We do need, bios and headshots from everyone, so we can add you to the website to have this nice, pretty picture with your bio next to it.
Awesome.
How many words for the bio?
Short but not too short. Maybe I think we've gotten like maybe 200 words. Short. Actually, I don't know. You know what?
I think Lemuria's email said 100 words when I was editing mine.
Okay, that's better.
Okay.
So like 250 characters is great. That's like Twitter.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
And that's like the preferred length because it's a really good length.
Okay.
And if we so Paula, who works as event planning for me and stuff, social media and stuff, I know she's been reaching out to some of you, so she'll be working with you on getting that condensed or reworded if needed.
Emily, do these emails come from you or from the specific people? Just so I know what to look for, because I get so much email. Sometimes I think I miss things, but they're coming from you. when you're talking
They
about
might
all
come
this?
from me, they might come from Lemuria, they might come from Paula, they might come from
Okay.
Doodle, WebEx, ClickUp, Google.
Right.
Because each
I'm
of
not
these
good with-
systems
I'm
sends
not
an
good with
email.
reading through all the, I just kind of scan through stuff. So I was wanting to know what to look for. Okay.
Well, that's the great thing about ClickUp too. You guys could leave messages to each other there. It's all in
Once we
one
get on
place.
that, yeah, yeah. But for now, I think I missed stuff because unless it's from you specifically, may not open it. So,
Oh, okay. So Tip, if we don't hear from anyone, I'll send an email.
yeah,
to
you
Kelly.
need to send it to them. Yeah.
Will do.
Okay, are there any other questions?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to make a motion to adjourn the meeting for this time.
I will second. Debbie Balashak second.
All in favor?
I
Aye. Okay, great. Thank you, everybody. And we'll look for the doodle poll coming soon.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you
Kelly.
so much,
you, everybody.
everyone. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.